My name is Kate. Today's practice is going to be a yin yoga practice. In this practice, we will work our way into a pose and hold that pose for 3 or 4 or maybe 5 minutes. Enough time to allow our bodies to settle in, our nervous system to relax, so that our connective tissue, our fascia throughout our body, can start to release and provide us with a little ease. Some of these poses may be uncomfortable, and that is okay. We will use this opportunity to practice sitting through discomfort. We do want to make sure that we are not causing ourselves pain, so we do need to stay aware of the difference between discomfort and pain. If you find yourself in a painful situation, please move out of that carefully and slowly and work yourself into a merely uncomfortable position. Now, we will use a lot of props in this practice because we are trying to avoid using our muscles as effort. We're trying to find a place where we can settle in and then allow the body to do the work. And actually, it's more like the gravity working on the body. So for props today, I have a Mexican blanket, and we'll use that in various configurations. I have a couple of yoga blocks here. I have a bolster, and if there are any other materials or props that you like as you practice and you know that, please grab them and be ready. To begin, let us start in a child's pose. So come to your hands and knees, bring your big toes to touch, and spread your knees out wide. We're going to sit the hips back toward the heels, and as we do this, you might find that your hips might not quite reach your heels, so to bridge the gap in that distance there, you can take your blanket and maybe roll it up so it's a kind of a thick roll. You can set that blanket on your heels, and then maybe that will help you feel that connection between your sit bones or the back of your thighs and your heels. If you are so far away from feeling that connection, grab a block, use a bolster. You can use anything you need to create that connection. Walk your hands out, extend your spine, and you can lower your forehead down to the mat. And if the mat feels far away, then again, you've got options. You can take your block, your blanket, you can make a pillow with your hands. Just find a place where your forehead can rest. You can use your block on any height. Find a place where your forehead can rest, and you can allow the gravity to start to do the work. And as you are settling in, start to pay attention to your breath. Start to allow your inhales and exhales to be a little longer, maybe be a little smoother. Take your time. And as you exhale, notice your body sinking into the floor just a little bit more. With every exhale, allow yourself to feel a little bit heavier. And we'll settle in here. You can allow your eyes to close. And as you settle in, notice where you feel sensation. And if the sensation becomes intense, use your breath. When you feel it, go ahead and inhale. And as you exhale, try to release a little bit of the holding you might be doing. And you may notice as we stay in this position, you may notice your body starting to open up a little bit. You may notice that your range of motion might increase. And if you notice that, perhaps only once or twice, you remove a prop, make adjustments. Take notice of your shoulders. Are your shoulders tracking up, trying to be closer to your ears? Is there a way that you can allow your shoulders to soften a little bit? If your forehead is resting on a block or on the mat or on some other prop, then we're going to try something. If your forehead is resting on your arms or your hands as a pillow, perhaps you can find a prop to slide in place of your hands. And then we're going to bring the tops of the hands out beside the knees to the floor. So you rest the tops of your hands on the floor. Your elbows are pointing up. We're going to allow slight opening in the wrist. And we're not pressing the backs of the hands into the floor, but just kind of have the elbows stacked on top of the wrists and allow just the weight of the arms to press into the back of the hand. And this might offer a little opening for those tendons on the tops of your forearms. Continue breathing here, softening here. Start to peel the backs of your hands up off the floor. You can walk your hands back out in front of you toward the top of the mat. And when you are ready, you can slowly start to push up off of your sit bones, slowly start to come up into your hands and knees. You can move any props that you were using off to the side. And on your hands and knees, let's take a few cat-cows with our breath. So as you inhale, dip your belly down, lift your sit bones, lift your gaze, pull your shoulders back. And as you exhale, round your spine up, drop your sit bones, drop the crown of your head, feel your shoulder blades pull apart from each other. Inhale, find your cow pose, move slowly, feeling each vertebrae articulate as you go. And exhale, find your cat pose. One more time each way. Inhale, belly sinks, chest and sit bones lift. Exhale, spine curves up toward the ceiling. And then bring your spine back to neutral. grab a block and place the block about right under your eyes on the mat, on its lowest height. From your hands and knees, as you inhale, lift your right arm up to the ceiling, and then exhale, guide that hand right behind the wrist, the left wrist, and slowly lower your ear down in the direction of the block. And you can pause right here and see how this feels for you. This might be a good place to stop. You might feel some sensation in your shoulder, in your upper back. But if you feel that you have a little bit more room to go, you can move this block out of the way and bring your ear down toward the mat. And perhaps a good spot for you is anywhere in between that lowest height of the block and the mat. So make any adjustments you need to make. We're going to settle in here for a few moments. You're resting on that right shoulder. Your top arm has a few options. I'm going to show those to you, and then you choose which option you like for right now. The first option is to keep your left hand right where it is, right in front of your face, and you can gently press the hand into the mat, pressing your top shoulder toward the back, and see what that offers you. Another option is to walk your fingers out to the top of the mat and extend this top arm forward. These are all slightly different, and you'll find the one that you need that suits you best today. Continue to allow your breath to help you and support you here. And one more option that I can offer you is that you lift this top arm up, rotate your hand so that your palm is facing toward the back of you, and bend the elbow and bring the back of the palm to your lower back. You can even reach around to that inner thigh if you like. Find the place where your arm is most supportive to you in this shape. Settle in. Throughout this practice, it is helpful to close the eyes, because as your body starts to settle into these uncomfortable shapes and your connective tissues start to release some of the tension that they're holding, it may bring up some feelings. And it's an opportunity to allow those feelings to exist, to acknowledge them, and then remind yourself that you are okay. You are safe right here. One more big exhale right here. And then bring that hand back to where it is in front of your face. If you've moved it anywhere else, press that hand into the mat and lift up. You can lift the right arm up toward the ceiling and bring it back to the mat. Just take a cat-cow right here and register anything you might feel, any difference you might feel in your shoulders and your back from different sides. The next time you inhale, lift the left arm up to the ceiling. And as you exhale, guide that hand on the floor behind the right wrist and bring the shoulder and the ear to your prop or to your mat. As you settle in, decide where you want to take that top arm. And you can explore, remembering that the two sides of our body are very different. And so what might feel good or appropriate for one arm might not work for the other today. So take your time, find the place where you need to be, and settle in. In this practice, we move into places where we're putting some gentle stress on parts of our body that hold a lot of tension. And that gentle stress does a few things. One, it allows the body to slowly start to release the tension, to break it up. And it also, that gentle stress, when we release the stress and come out of the pose, our body's going to send all kinds of good blood and nourishment and synovial fluids to the areas that need it. It's kind of like we're reminding the body, hey, we need some attention over here. Take a big inhale here and open mouth, sigh it out. Bring your hand back to the mat, plant it in front of your face. Press your hand into the mat and then lift the left arm up to the ceiling. Bring the hand back to the mat and take a couple of cows and cats. And then we will come to a seat on the mat, sitting on your bottom. And now, anytime we are sitting on our bottom, or really sitting anywhere, it is very helpful to have our hips elevated just a little bit, even a little bit higher than the knees. The knees and the weight of the legs can place some real pressure on our hips and lower back as we sit. So right now, we'll take this blanket, and right now it's folded, about this shape, and then I'm just going to fold it over one more time. I'm going to sit it behind me, and I'm going to lift my hips just so that I'm sitting on the edge of this blanket, and that's going to help my pelvis start to tip, the top of my pelvis start to tip forward, and that's protecting the curve of my spine, the natural curve of my spine. So as you find your seat on your blanket or a little cushion, even a block sometimes might be the right height. Bring the soles of your feet together, and your feet can be as close to your torso or as far away from your torso as you like. You decide what shape this diamond takes here. Let the outside edges of your feet touch. You can hold on to your shins or your ankles, or perhaps even the arches of your feet. And as you do, we'll sit here for a moment, and sometimes in other yoga classes, we might do things like this and then use our muscles to try to press something open, but that's not what we do in yin yoga. In yin yoga, we don't use the muscles. Instead, we allow the rest of the body to just open with gravity. You have a few options here. As you sit here, one option is that you might take your blocks and just rest them on your knees. Just the lightest weight, and letting that add just a little heaviness to the knees, encouraging them to open. Another option, if this is if you still feel like you can create a little bit more sensation, perhaps you rest your elbows on the blocks. And see how just the way I'm not pressing, just resting here, and see how the weight of your arms maybe adds just enough so that you have some sensation. We're not looking for a shape here, we're looking for the place where you find sensation in the shape. And if you feel like you have a little bit more capacity for opening and sensation, then perhaps then you do hold on to your ankles or your shins or your feet and just start to roll your torso forward. You can hold on to your legs or your feet, but without pulling. Again, we're not using muscles, so it might be helpful even to turn your palms face up in a gesture of receiving so that you can settle in and receive what is here for you. Now, if you are folded forward and you find you need some support for your upper back or your head, your blocks are always a great option. You can build a tower of blocks on your feet. And if that's too far away, you can stack the block even higher. And if your feet are too close, find a place. Maybe it's on the floor in front of you. Build your support so that you can settle in and stay here for a moment. This shape offers a lot of places to feel sensation. Maybe you feel sensation in your inner thighs, maybe in the backs of your hips, perhaps your lower back, maybe even all the way up your back, around the skull to meet the eyebrows. Just notice what you feel. With each exhale, soften just a little more. Let go just a little more. One more big inhale and open mouth, let it go. And very slowly, as slowly as you came in, start to roll your spine up. If you have blocks resting on your knees, gently place them to the side. Use your hands on the outsides of your knees to lift your knees up. Place your feet on the mat out in front of you, about hip-width distance apart. You can come off of your blanket or your block, lean back on your hands, and gently rock your knees from one side to the other. Just allowing a little release of whatever energy was being stored in all of those places where you felt it. And then for our final shape today, you're going to need a block and a blanket. We'll take the block right just a few inches from the top of your mat, put it on its medium height. Take your blanket, or if you'd like to use a bolster, you can do that. Take your blanket and roll it so it's sort of a thick roll. Doesn't have to be fancy or very precise, just kind of a thick roll here. Then you're going to turn with the soles of your feet on the mat, and your back is going to lie down on this blanket. And you're going to shimmy, make your way, shimmy your shoulders so that the blanket is, you'll feel it right at the bottom of your shoulder blades. So you see where this is. And then this block here is for your head. Now let's pay attention to where our feet are in this situation. There are lots of options. One is that you walk your feet out to the edges of your mat and then let your knees collapse in on each other. You can make any adjustments so that your knees are just resting against each other. You're not doing any work to hold your knees up. That might feel supportive. And we're looking for some support in the lower back here. So that's one option. Another option is to bring the soles of your feet together like we just had. And again, you can let them be as far away as you like and let the knees open out to the sides. Now, if this feels heavy, but like it could work, you can always use your blocks right under your knees for support. That's one option. Another option is if your lower back will allow it, maybe you extend your legs out long and just let the feet flop open to the sides. And now with our arms, we'll start with the elbows out to the side on the top side of the blanket, so the same side of the blanket as your block for your head. Arms can open out to the side. You can allow your palms to face up, and you might feel a nice opening sensation across the top of your chest and in your shoulders. And if you'd like a little bit more sensation, you can bring your hands, your arms up out closer to your head, sort of in a big Y shape. And another option is to reach your arms up over your head and clasp your hands. Let your elbows be heavy and let your arms be heavy. Or perhaps you hold on to your elbows. Start to settle in here. And you might find after a moment that you can bring the block down to its lowest height. Settle in, use your breath. Feel the earth, your props, strong foundation holding you so that you don't have to hold. And allow, with each exhale, your body to feel a little heavier. Allow your eyes to close. Allow your thoughts to slow down. When a thought or a feeling arises, acknowledge that it is a thought or a feeling, and then let it go. Notice your breath. Has the quality of your breath changed from when we began this practice? Let's inhale together here and then exhale with an open mouth. If you are holding on to your hands or your elbows, start to release that and bring your arms out to the side. If your arms are up and wide, bring them out to the side. If your legs are extended or the soles of your feet are touching, bring the soles of your feet to the mat. Bring your knees up, pointing up toward the ceiling. And slowly and gently, just sort of roll yourself to a side, maybe prop yourself up slightly, move your props out of the way. And when your props are moved out of the way, we'll come back to lying on the mat, flat. And I say flat, but you can take that blanket that you used and place it under your knees as a support for your lower back. And lie down on your back. Feel your shoulder blades on the mat. Feel the back of your head on the mat. Settle in, just notice how your body feels. You can take your time right here with your eyes closed. Just allow yourself a few minutes to relax and enjoy any releases, any energy you might feel in your body. And when you feel complete and relaxed, you can move slowly, come out of your relaxation when you are ready. I hope that you have enjoyed this practice, and I hope that you feel some relief in your body. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Namaste.